Now we have finished practicing in the order of operations. Multiplying, at the same time we have learned how to work on division. So when we are going to need to discuss this, that will be already easy for you. So let me show you how we're solving this. You have done it already, but just a quick one for those who may have lost the lesson. So in our first step is to use the BEDMAS, so division first, because I don't have brackets and I don't have indices, and then the multiplication. And to do that, I can make a fraction line and I put on top as the denominator the first part, and underneath as denominator this one, and of course I keep the rest as they are. If you need to put a bracket to help you understand what we're doing, so you separate things, no problem. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to put brackets. Okay, so now I need to work with this one. First things first, numbers. I simplify that, so 4, and I cancel that. So I have 4, nothing left from the x, 4y is left from that 1, plus I need to multiply numbers with numbers. 30 times 6 equals 180, and I have one z, another z, 2, so the power of 2, y, z in alphabetical order. If it was me, I would continue because already I've seen a common factor here. It's not just a y, because this is divisible by 4. But that will be something we have to discuss later. At this stage, at this moment, this is okay. The same applies here. I'm start with my multiplication first, and I have my division there. And I need to maintain the minus in the spot where it is. So on this part I have 15 times 3, 45, alphabetical order in these two, D, F, and on this side I have 200 on top, D, E, F, 10, E underneath. Can I simplify? Of course I can. Okay, 20 on top, I cancel E by E, so what's left for me? 45 DF, take away 20, and what's left? 20 DF. So, bingo! No factorization, just subtraction. I write df, this is my common factor, and I go 45 take away 20, or 45 minus 20 equals 25 df. That was my favorite when I was a child. I did find it hard, but nice and interesting and intriguing to find the factors. So now we have learned this. We need to remember that again we have to use the rules of division, and the rules of division are the same when I have positive or negative on both sides of the fraction line. Okay, my result is positive, and when it's different 1 or odd number, it's always 1 in this case, negative. I want you to remember, it's for your best interest, write the division as a fraction. You will see things easier. And simplify first the numbers, the coefficients, and then cancel or simplify the pronumerals, the variables. Let's practice here, seeing some negative signs. Again, first advice, use the fraction. So this is my fraction. I put on top 15x and underneath minus 10x. Isn't it easier? I know that immediately I can cancel x with x, and I can simplify that, which will be minus 3 over 2, because I simplify both sides by 5. Okay? I need you to understand something. This minus, it was here, but at the end of the day, when I divide positive and negative, the minus is better and safer to be in front of the fraction line. It demonstrates knowledge. What's happening here? Fraction line, minus on top, minus underneath, minus and minus. And what I have on top? Nominator, 20, A, B, C, denominator, 2AC. Let's cancel A, C, C, 2, 1 time, 10 times. So what's left? Minus divided by 9, minus has to be positive, so I see 10, and I haven't seen anything left here. 10, and what's left on the top? B. I love division. So please remember that you will need to practice division as a group work, and it is fairly easy. Because it's not much left, I will use the same video to discuss the order of operations in the division component. We have done that in the past. I want you to remember that in this case I'm starting first with the division, Bedmas, and I start with 6x, take away, fraction line to have the things coming out clearly, 4xy on top, 2y underneath. Do you see it? Because I can see it. Cancel, cancel, cancel or simplify 2. And what's left? 6x minus 2x. So what's my answer? X, the common factor, 6 take away 2, 4. What about this one? What about this one? This is this part, and this is the other part. So let's start simultaneously. On one bracket I will do the division, on the other bracket I will do the multiplication. I need to remember that my plus stays as is. And fraction line, this becomes, remember, the fraction line, 36p QR on top. I see what you see, and I write whatever I see. I don't forget anything. 12R underneath. And what I write here? Multiplication, the numbers first, the letters later in alphabetical order. So which is 28PQ. Okay. Can I cancel anything here? I see R here. Do I see R on top? Yes, there is an R. And I see 12 here. How many 12s there are in 36? 1 here, 3. So what's left on top? It's left 3 PQ plus 28 PQ. And how many PQs I have? 28 and 3, 31. And this is algebra. Nothing much, actually. And if you do it, you will feel very, very, very clever. Let's do something that will make you feel more clever, and then we'll practice in the class as well. I want you to remember we'll work on the top first and at the same time the bottom. In this case, numerator, and denominator. What do we have in here? I have multiplication on the top and I have addition at the bottom. Combination. Do I scare? No. What am I doing with my multiplication? I multiply everything with everything. So I go 4 times 2 times 2. Or I can go 4 times 2 times 2 times y times y times y. Okay, so I go y times y times y. So let's see. That's on top. And what's happening underneath? 4y and 2y, 6y and 2y, 8y. That's what's happening on the top. 4 times 2, 8, times 2, 16. I'm done with this. Y times y times y. Y to the power of 3. And underneath I have 8, y. Do you see what I see? I see that this little one here can be simplified. How many 8s I have on 16? 2. And I get 1y from here and 1y from there. I'm subtracting. Okay? So my answer is I need to draw a line, which I just destroyed. So my answer is whatever is left, and whatever is left is 2y squared. Let's see what's happening here. This is tricky because I need to use indices law. I want you to remember the distributive law and indices as well. So I multiply this by this, multiply this by this, and I multiply this by this. So I'm writing fraction line, and I have 6 not anymore to the power of 2, x to the power of 4, y not anymore to the power of 3, 3 times 2 to the power of 6, and z to the power of 2. And what I have underneath? I have 18x to the power of 5, y to the power of 2, z. Now, remember what's happening when I'm dividing? I'm subtracting. Great. Let's do the numbers first. I have 1 here and 3 here, so it is 1/3 of what? This is 4, 5. So I'm spending this 4. There is nothing left up here, but here it has been left 1. So I'm writing x. What's happening here? I have 2 underneath, but I have 6 on top, so it's gone, and I've been left with y to the power of 4. 6 take away 2 is 4. And what happens here? 2 take away 1 equals equals 1z. And this is your answer. If I want to be more sophisticated, I'll write fraction line y to the power 4z over 3x. Lovely, elegant. So you will need to practice again in all this, and I hope by now you will be able to understand how to figure this out. This will be your last activity, because I'm sure you know here that I simplify this by this, and I simplify this by this, and I write just 2yz. Here it's a little bit more complicated. That will be an activity in the class. Thank you. Now we finish that, we're going to discuss expanding, which is quite the opposite. In algebra we like playing games. Simplifying, we have a big full line full of algebra and we shrink it, and in expanding we have something small and we open it up. Thank you.